What you just witnessed is history. Although simple and seemingly without purpose, this lonely hat left behind by accident and the act of kindness to follow will go on to alter history significantly. What's being suggested here is that history is already set in motion far earlier than we can even imagine. Moments lead into other moments, and that leads into others, and so on and so on. And somewhere down the road, a moment of absolute significance occurs. And if you were to tell me that the young man I met back in the day of summer of '62 would go on to be a murderer, hell, I'd call you a damn fool.
Excuse me, sir. You dropped your hat.
Oh, thank you.
You looking for a lift, sir? I could run and call someone for you.
No, no need for that. I've made it this far without the use of an automobile. I think I'd fare well enough without one.
You sure? It's hell of a long way to the next town, and it's hot as hell to boot.
I'm sure. Hey, I don't recognize you. You're not from around these parts, are you?
Passing through.
Ah.
I'm on my way to the city for some work. Actually, to be honest, I'm pretty lost.
Well, that's no problem. You just keep going the way you're going until you hit 7th Street, then you make a left on the Commerce, and then follow 180 for about 35 miles, and you're straight shot to it.
Thank you. That's very kind of you, sir. Most folks around here don't tend to take kindly to me, it seems.
Well, that just happens to be the upbringing of folks in these parts. They never have the opportunity to truly mingle with people different from themselves, so they just build up walls.
What makes you so different?
Me? Shoot, I learned the hard way that folks can't be judged skin deep. Fought in the war. You spend months with people from all different places, and you come to understand people a whole lot differently, especially on the battlefield. You learn that we may not all look the same, but we sure want the same thing.
What's that?
Peace. Peace in a place under the sun where nobody will bother you or your kin. People just want to do what they do and be left alone. Take this whole thing in Cuba, for instance. Those people have a way of life that works for them, and that's all they want. Because their way of life doesn't benefit old money like Kennedy, we start slapping embargoes on them and regulating their trade, and the next thing you know, they're running off to Russia.
Yes, but Kennedy's doing a lot of good. He's desegregating the country, making it easier for everyone to get work.
Yeah, and who do you think's going to benefit the most? That's right, the men with the power. Kennedy's only agenda is to make up for the scoundrel work his old man did back during the war. Ultimately, people like Kennedy want one thing and one thing only: to be served. The rich get richer and the poor get poorer. And that's all that matters to men like him. Communism frightens those Harvard boys. But it can strengthen kids like you. Hell, you can find an honest capitalist as easy as you can find an X on a treasure map. It makes me wonder what presidency under Nixon would be like.
No X in Nixon.
Yeah, and there ain't no gold to be found where Kennedy's digging either. Look, kid, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to snap at you like that. Look, I'm ranting at you. You got places to be. I'll let you go.
No, it's fine. I've got time. Why are you out here anyway?
I'm just coming back from work, my friend. I run a little drugstore over there on the other side of town.
That's great. I'm going in the city to be a clerk at one.
That's so. Well, tell me, what brings a kid like you to this sorry neck of the woods to be a clerk?
I'm originally from Trinidad.
Cuba? I apologize, young man. I meant no insult with all the political stuff.
No, you're right. Once Castro started trading with Russia, things took a turn for the worse. I had a cousin who found refuge here right before the embargo. I rode in on a boat made out of doors about a year ago to make it here. Ever since then, I had been trying to find my cousin. About a month ago, someone from immigration put me in contact with him, and he gave me a job at his store.
A true American fairy tale if I ever heard one. What do you plan to do when you get yourselves all situated here?
Wow, I didn't really think about that. My mama wanted lots of grandkids before she died. She always told me that the wealth of a family is measured in children and in skill in the kitchen. As it turns out, I'm a terrible cook. So maybe getting married and having kids is the next best route.
Well, you may not be natural born, but it sounds to me like you got the American dream down pat.
What else is there to do?
Oh, son, there's a whole mess of things a bright young kid like you can be doing. The way you're talking is the same exact way us recruits were thinking towards the end of the war. We're all going to move to the suburbs, get married, have lots of kids. And that's what a lot of them did. And they might seem happy, but half of them ain't. They forgot what made them great and left it in Europe or in the Pacific.
So you're saying it's bad to get married?
I'm saying it's a waste of youth. These men settled so that they could have kids who they would raise and go off to fight in Korea. And then those kids would settle and raise kids that it looks like they're going to be fighting in their own war soon.
Well, why didn't you settle?
Well, I did.
You got married?
Well, sure did.
And kids?
Boys.
How many?
5.
5? All right, old man.
Yeah, well, you know, big families, the American dream. You know?
Well, what are they up to now, huh?
I don't know.
Oh, come on. What did you raise? Doctors?
No.
Lawyers? A future president? Come on, tell me.
I raised kids so they could go off to Korea and get killed, all right?
God, I'm so sorry.
Kid, it's fine.
No, it's not fine. I shouldn't have insisted. No man should have to relive something like that.
It's fine, son. It's just part of what I've been trying to tell you.
They all died?
3. Want to be war heroes like their old man.
And your wife?
Well, it wound up being too hard to handle, so we got a divorce. Folks don't tend to understand that kind of stuff when it happens, so I moved way out here.
I can see why you'd hate the family life.
It's not all that. I'm trying to tell you, you can be something more, right? You don't just have to be part of a machine, and your sole duty being to make kids who will only grow up to go die in war somewhere. You can make a difference.
But what can I do? I can barely get a job as a clerk without help.
All life really is, it's dominoes, gradually knocking each other over. It's perpetual and shows no sign of stopping because no one ever really wants to take the effort to stop it. Kid, you come from a whole new generation. You got a whole new way of looking at things, a whole new way of learning things. You can experience things the way people never thought to experience them. You could change the whole world just the flick of a switch. Maybe change the direction of those dominoes.
You make it sound so noble. I can be a crusader. I can bring justice to my people.
There you go, kid.
Come with me. There's so much I need to learn. We can change the world together.
Me? No, kid. I'm past that point. I'm merely a setter up of things. You, on the other hand, you'll find it easy to meet people, make some differences. Hell, the world's full of them. You're going to do fine.
It's getting late.
Yeah, I suppose it is. You might want to start heading out. There's a motel in the next town over. You could probably stay there tonight and be in the city by noon tomorrow.
Yes, of course. Thank you so much. I feel like I have a true purpose now.
Great, kid. Now go out and do something worthwhile.
I hope we cross paths again.
So do I. Hey, kid.
See you around, old man.
From here, the dominoes fall one after the other until we find ourselves in this moment. It's a little insignificant moment, and it begins with the literal drop of a hat. Then time goes on and you forget. You forget about that random encounter with some kid on a dirt road in an underdeveloped part of Fort Worth. A few months later, you find yourself glued to the TV. Nuclear missiles have been found in Cuba. The Earth stands on the edge of another war. JFK prevents it. Opinions change. And then, one nice day in November, you decide to go to the city because, hey, president's in town. And you decide to find a little space where there's a clear view of the motorcade. And you hear cheering off in the distance. It's closer and closer until you see the car turns the corner and there's the president in all his glory. And a shot goes off. Nobody moves. And then another. Still nobody moves. And then another. And you finally react because you've been in wars and you know what the sound of gunfire is like, and you can sense it's coming from the fence behind you, and you turn and you see the face of a young boy you met randomly on the road a year ago. He turns and runs off to the train yard, and you never see him again. Later on, they'd catch a fellow named Oswald and blame him for the whole thing. And when you finally work up the courage to tell what you saw, it's too late. Nobody believed you anyways. Besides, if the truth came out, the history books would all just talk about the groups he traveled in, the literature he read, diaries he kept. Nobody knows what happened that day or what led up to it. I was angry. I felt cheated. I felt wronged. I just wanted to bestow what I had onto this boy so that he could go out and make a difference. I wanted to stop the dominoes and make something beautiful. And instead I make a monster. He wanted to go to work and raise a family in peace. He was already beautiful. What is more force to halt the dominoes than
there's
something like that?
happening here. What it is ain't exactly clear. There's a man with a gun over there, telling me I got to beware. I think it's time we stop, children. What's that sound?